gonna play this little intro.
I cannot. This doesn't work.
Oh, it's because it's broken.
All right. Now we are live. Let's wait for some people to come. Hi, up. Hello, everyone. So before we start, please go to my bio. Here is my friends.
Your friends. It's the Corona friends.
Yeah, Corona, like the roommates, boyfriend, my boyfriend's brother. Go to my link, bio, and there's a link, YouTube link, because if you want to see three of us, then you should also be watching this stream through our YouTube channel. So if you go to my profile, Instagram profile, and in my bio, there's a link, YouTube link, click on that, and also stream it through that link. We need also views on our YouTube.
Get on the YouTube so we can
channel,
have thousands of subscribers. This thing's gonna blow up. Some positive manifesting. I can just feel it.
We already got some people joining on Instagram.
Yes.
What's up, Sasha? What's up, Seven?
So why are we also doing this from 3 sites? Because you cannot invite people in YouTube, right? So we will have some guests in these shows, talk shows, and you can only do that through Instagram.
Well, we'd like to get it set up so people can Skype in or we can have a Zoom session. But
that's true, we can do that.
But while we're building this new podcast talk show, what are we calling it?
Corona Brunch.
Corona Brunch. It's good to get people from all sides, from different countries, from different platforms, and get everybody organized a little bit.
One thing I'd like to point out right off the bat is that having a talk show is actually very hard, and I just want to say that someone should have told us in advance that it was difficult.
Well, I mean, I've seen talk shows where people are like, "Oh, you guys don't know what goes on behind the scenes. It's so complicated." And when you're watching that video, you're always like, "Shut the hell up. You're doing this for fun. What's your problem? Stop complaining." But I think it's also part of the experience to explain, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that can go wrong. I think it's...
And one of the things that went wrong, I can show you right away. So, we promised for tasty treats, and we have tasty treats, as you can see.
So many tasty treats.
A lot of tasty treats, but we didn't have time to put the frosting that we made for our cupcakes there. The frosting here.
Tasty
because we didn't
treats.
time it well. We were like, we have 3 hours. We can do anything.
Yeah, no, realizing like adding a food element to a live show is already just it's a complicated proposal.
So we're gonna put this frosting during the live stream, and also we will.
But because I think that's what Corona is all about, is making frosting out of. I ran out of time because I was spacing out and just Corona,
Well, just remember, anytime you tell yourself, or a group tells themselves, we can do anything, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
You are overestimating what you can do. But so if anybody is making cupcakes at home, frost with us.
Yeah. if you got your cupcakes ready,
Thank you.
get that frosting going.
There is a question. It is my first time to see a talk show. Is it about violin? Unfortunately, it's not about violin. It is about.
Not everything is about violin, unfortunately. There's a lot. Yeah, we're trying to get pretty broad here on our talk show.
Yeah.
Violin is cool, but you know what else is cool? Fresh cakes.
Okay, before we, I think, go all directions, let's narrow
Let's
it.
focus up for a second.
What this show is about.
Okay, definitely.
It is about the corona crisis and what we feel, or personally what I feel, this crisis brought us apart, and there is no way we can really connect with each other like in a real way. I mean, the last time that I felt this weird feeling was when I was giving an online lesson, and it is just weird, and it has this frustrating feeling because you like see the person, you can talk to the person, but there's like this, you know, wall that you don't feel the feelings, or like you don't just feel the energy, and you don't have this natural interaction, and we don't get to really have that special connection anymore. And that's like the most frustrating thing to me, for me, and I would like to talk about that personally a little bit. That I think we all feel isolated in a way that, you know, is more than just a crisis and just the coronavirus, but more emotionally. And I want to reach out to people who are out there who might feel the same, and we can talk about it. So this show is mostly about the human connection and your experiences and our experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because it's almost like, I mean, we're all still here, most of us, you know, unfortunately some people have passed away, but it's almost like we're all still here and we've been pulled apart from each other. And it's such a weird feeling to maybe go outside and see some other people and go to the grocery store, and you have to, this bizarre thing has happened to all of us where you're looking at other people thinking, does that guy have the corona? Maybe he has the corona, and everybody's sort of eyeing each other up, and it's, I don't know, it's halted a lot of things, but it's halted, I think, the most valuable part is the human connections, that you can actually randomly catch somebody's eye and have a smile or help somebody out while you're on the street. A lot of this, like, just human kindness has taken a huge hit, and I think it's a big blow to everybody that's living these days, but we're not really being encouraged to talk about that feeling of what it feels like to be sort of torn apart at the seams here in society. And I don't know, at least when I ask a lot of people or talk to people, they don't even really know how to talk about it, or they don't want to talk about it because, I don't know, they feel scared, or like they're not supposed to, or that maybe, I don't know, the CDC is going to come after you just for talking about your experience. But I don't know, I think we want to try and push back against that a little bit, and try to remember the human connection, that we are all in this together, and that even though there's all this energy like trying to make us feel weird, that we maybe don't necessarily have to, while still following all the rules and guidelines, you know, in your country. Trying to fight against that weird feeling that we all have.
Yeah. And I also want to comment on Marshall's hair. Looks amazing.
Well, I mean, I thought a lot about, that's some serious shade going on.
That's not a shade.
That is, I'm afraid that's,
well, you know,
that can't be misconstrued there. I had a lot of thought about it, you know, and I wanted to give the listeners, the viewers, an authentic experience of what's going on here
In this
and
apartment.
also
apartment, right?
look at this. Corona gave me this.
And I mean, if you know, somebody text or write in, but if you were to still taking a shower every day,
What's the matter with you? What's wrong? What's wrong with your mind?
I have some comments.
Waste of time,
from,
I would say.
Actually, I've been talking to this person from India and helping him out with some basic violin maintenance questions, and he just wrote these comments, and I want to really read it. He says, everyone is living is some kind of isolation inside their heart, but we need to speak it out. Isolation is good when it's about health, or to saving society, or to humanity. But when it comes to your thoughts, then isolation is really dangerous.
nice.
It's a good point.
And
Solid
I
comment.
really agree with this.
Does your student have a name? It's hard to say, but Indian student person. Yeah. Yeah, we appreciate that comment.
Yes,
We appreciate
thank you
that
for sharing your thoughts, because this is actually like really what we want to do with this live stream. Like we want to invite anyone who would like to just talk about their feelings and what they're going through.
Yeah, I mean, we're just getting this all started, but I think that's sort of the hope that the show isn't really about us necessarily. I mean, a little bit, because we're cool, but that it's more about like, right, yeah, that you, the listener, you, the viewer out there, and what your ideas and feelings are about what's happening.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear from you.
Right, because when there's plenty of places that you can go to learn about the crisis and how it's going in a practical sense. But and it is important, stay safe and all that stuff. But what's really being left behind in all this is the individual experiences of living in this changing time. And your student brings up a really good point, because I think it's really critical not to underestimate.
His name is Deep.
Deep.
Yes.
Deep. Thank you for contributing.
Thank you, Deep.
And yes, he's also saying bad thing is Insta Live, there's a limit writing words. Maybe next time, Deep, if you're interested, you can join us live.
Get him on the show.
Get in here because I can request for you to be in the live stream, and you can right away directly share your thoughts.
We'd love to have you.
Yes.
That's India. Right, because what we've already done for this first show, India's adding to that country, but we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different countries that we got, some words or some videos from people, and it's, I don't know, it's at least giving us a better idea of what's going on out there in the world.
The live stream YouTube, are we doing it through Wi-Fi?
No.
Mobile data.
Mobile data.
Because apparently it's not that good.
It's not that good? That's unfortunate.
Well, I got a yellow on the stream. It's still gonna upload, but it's maybe a little.
Well, if
maybe
it
a little
is really
shaky.
shaky to watch, you can always watch afterwards and just stay connected. Yeah. Well, we are doing it mobile data. We are not even using Wi-Fi, but yeah, you just don't know these things, how they're gonna go in a way. I mean,
Yeah, internet in the time of Corona is also a little wiggly.
a little wiggly. So you can stay connected through our Instagram, my Instagram, and then watch the YouTube if you want later on. But yes. So, by the way, Kellen's doing a great job.
I'm frosting.
Kellen's rocking the
Thank
frosting.
you.
Yeah, I mean, part of this is just brunch and just hanging out
With you guys.
like we normally do, just rocking the couch.
And eat sweet, unhealthy things every day, all day.
I like eating cake for breakfast because cake is supposed to be like the finishing move of food. It's like the last thing you can possibly eat. Nothing can top it. And if that's where you start your day, what does that say about you?
You just going straight to cake.
I'm looking at you guys, Christian.
Oh, we got Chris in the chat. What's up, Chris?
He
Morning.
plays us. You can wave back.
Hey,
I
Chris. We're making cupcakes.
But we prepared some things, right?
We definitely did.
Because we got some testimonials
Exactly.
from a couple of people. We will show it to you now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera and show the computer screen.
Oh, jump on the screen?
Yeah.
It's a good call.
Yes. So
Definitely.
what do you want to do now? Do you want to talk more about your own experience or jump to those?
Well, I figure if we're it looks like we're showing our screen now. First, start with just the experiences from the Netherlands, because that's where we're at.
Yeah.
We're here in the Netherlands, right? And in general, I'm showing on screen a picture of us singing our awesome concert, "Leave the House."
In the first sort of week or so that we were here, there were a lot of there was a lot of just strange feelings adjusting to the new reality, and we put together a 30-minute home concert video that, while it does contain a lot of music, is extremely strange and personal and dark, and I think especially in the early parts of the quarantine, there was such a big adjustment that we had to find a way to express it, and we expressed it in the medium of amateur filmmaking. It felt really good to make, though, even though it's even just a few weeks later, it's kind of strange to watch it now, because every week is a little bit different.
Well, and I think that is one lesson from Corona times that feel free to do something you maybe totally aren't good at, because it really like sort of rewires your brain and lets you think about things in a different way.
Yes.
And I would encourage you to do that.
Okay, so there's a request. So we're gonna show our video now. Is that it? Because then I will turn off the comments now. Okay. Let me turn off the comments here for now.
Well, I didn't really have a clip queued up from our show. That was just a still frame. I figured we would just rapid fire give the impressions of what's going on here. I mean, on screen you're seeing.
You need to move.
Switch. Oh shit.
It's okay. Okay, so.
Right, so that's we got an image from the grocery store here in The Hague. I mean, things are pretty relaxed here in the Netherlands, I would say. People are going outside, and the weather's been pretty beautiful, and a bunch of the stores are definitely closed, and restaurants and all of that. But a lot of the vibe, the people seem to just sort of be acting like it's a permanent summertime, and meeting with their friends outside and going to the park and everything. But at the same time, you still see effects when you go to the grocery store. Everything's kind of cordoned off. They got barriers and new requirements, and people are just generally acting a little strange.
Yeah.
And yeah, you gotta watch yourself when you get out there. But we've also just been wandering the streets, walking around, and I mean, here we don't see anybody on the streets, but it's mostly it's definitely less foot traffic than I've ever seen around here. But at the same time, the vibe is still pretty chilled out. And we're just trying to go for walks, go to the woods, go see some nature every once in a while, because that seems like maybe the best way to keep yourself sane. Yeah, and now I figured we just go through some different countries, some different places.
Yeah.
Right? Talk to a couple friends out in good old America. Right, so I wanted to highlight this comment from a friend of mine, which I think sums up what's going on in America. Quarantine life, day, who TF knows, lots of video games. And I would say, I don't know, at least for probably a large portion of the populace, this sums up your quarantine experience, right? It's the post up, it's the relaxation time, it's time to just enjoy what you do at home, that you normally don't get to do as much as you would want, but now you get to do as much as you possibly could handle. But I do have this video I wanted to share from a friend of mine. She's living up in Morro Bay. And this is her experience.
This is a video message from Morro Bay, California, on April 23rd, 2020. We're into our 6th week of shelter in place, and honestly we can't imagine a better place to be locked into our house, so because we have all of this around us. This is only um, 10 minutes away. We go jogging here every other day or whenever we can. And I feel so grateful about that. Yeah. It's such a strange, surreal time, and it's hard to believe that there's gonna be just a new way we're gonna exist, and just live our lives after Corona. But I think in some ways, maybe this has been just coming. We just really didn't foresee it. Many of us, this has been coming, and I think it's important to be aware, and finding that awareness is good of, different opinions and different information, not only just going blindly by what the mainstream media is saying, but just, being able, like, having the capacity to just think, like, well, what if there were other just other information out there. But then also, I think, as important as social distancing is right now, it's also like media distancing. It's really important to like keep your boundary. You have to be well and feeling sane and connected to your own guiding truth that's not necessarily based on information or how much you know, like factually, but it's just your own like innate, intuitive knowing in your body about what is good for you and what is not, like what feels good in your body that enables you to be a human being who's willing to help people and take care of people. I think we just first and foremost have to feel good within ourselves. So I'm sure that looks very different for every person, but for me it's just being not so much in the mental space of things, but really being in my body and like just doing things that are nourishing for me, like eating yummy snacks, making good food, moving, doing yoga, dancing, making art, smelling flowers, playing with my Noe, my 4-year-old son. And I don't know, this time has just been a strange experiment in how do we live happier with less, just less dependent on consuming and what's out there, but like just being more resourceful, I guess. Well, that's it for now. Take care. Bye.
Oh,
Yeah, she got a kid.
wow, that was powerful.
Right?
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, no, really appreciate getting that from Kathy. That's what life is going on like in Morro Bay. I mean, I guess everybody's living, right? Because everything got frozen. It's like where you're at in that moment is where you're at, and I guess some people are in really beautiful places, and other people are maybe in less beautiful places. But everybody's just trying to, I guess, make the best out of that situation and sort of settle in without going too crazy, you know, like feeling like this is going to go on for 10 or 20 years, but just sort of, trying to find a balance there.
But what do you think? What do you think that how long might this go?
How long we're going to be in quarantine?
$1 million question.
I'm gonna turn on the comments so
I mean,
you can also comment what you think that this quarantine is gonna go for how long.
yeah, I mean, we've already sort of seen the tactic that right, it's already been going on. How long have we, I don't even know how long
I
we've
don't
been
even
here.
know, but
6
more
weeks.
than
Maybe 6
a
weeks.
month. So I think
Right,
for
but that's,
almost everybody,
I think
we
when it
all
was
been here like for at least for a month in this mind space.
right. But I think when it was starting, that's not what they were talking about,
No.
right? They were saying maybe go home for a week or
Yeah.
a week or two. Because right, we obviously got to listen to the official sources, but that's, I think, part of the official sources is trying to keep everybody calm, and maybe even if they have the information, not fully releasing that information, so people don't go too crazy, right?
Definitely.
Because if they said up front, yeah, you're gonna be stuck at home for the next couple months, that would maybe not be so good for the vibes.
People would not like that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember from my own experience, like how things were, like really the beginning of this corona, and like just in a week, how things changed rapidly, and it happened in front of my eyes, and it was quite shocking because everyone's attitude changed, and like these are like it's good that we are doing social distancing, and we are now probably being more careful with our hygiene and basically more aware maybe in a way how the germs work, or even though we don't think like we don't really get it. That's I can only talk about my own experience, but I don't know about science, and I cannot just go out there and be like, this is science. It would just be the perception of my perception of science. So, right?
Well, you could also like read news articles and then act like you were the scientist that wrote those articles.
Yes.
Also a strong option.
Been seeing some of that behavior.
So what helped me the most, like just in this crisis, that I accepted that I just know maybe a tiny, tiny little picture of everything is happening. Like, so if you, I don't know, it helped me not like accepting that I don't know everything, and probably I'll never know everything.
It's really important.
And in a way, I also don't trust honestly what I'm reading on news or media, because I also saw how that changed. Like something that I googled, let's say 4 weeks ago, the results that I got, and after like these whole things started happening, basically the cases getting more, spreading, and more death rates and everything, that the same question I asked Google and the results that I got was so different. So
things are changing rapidly.
So I don't know like who to really, I don't know who to believe, or but also maybe it's not that important. I mean, even if you believe or not, you're still in the same situation. So.
Well, and I just want to pull up this article real quick here from yesterday. YouTube is banning medically unsubstantiated content here on YouTube. Right, so it's becoming less and less about. I mean, I guess it is about that topic that we're discussing, right? That any of us, you, me, and anybody else you can find, isn't going to really know everything.
Yeah.
Because you can't possibly know everything. But what we're seeing now, as far as information flow, is a heavy discouragement on openly talking about things that you don't understand or can speak to from an authoritative standpoint, right? Because, right, I don't think a lot of people are talking out loud these days just because they think they should defer to the authorities, and what we're seeing from YouTube and other people that content that is maybe not discussing the right thing in the right way is just going to get censored, basically, going to get banned and going to get cut. And so I think that is a chilling effect. The same way having everybody stand a meter and a half apart from each other is also having a chilling effect. And right, I think we're trying to figure out a way to push back against that a little bit without being a total troll or trying to push some crazy remedy on you guys that we don't really know actually works. So
Yeah.
I still think there's a way to have a discussion, even with sort of the tightening of.
I mean,
controls.
what drives me crazy that, like, these kind of restrictions, because these might like seem, kind of actually normal, or like it's not a big deal, but these are like real restrictions for our freedom in a way, but not only the freedom of movement, but freedom of sharing your opinions or thoughts. Like, now we don't really see the bigger picture, but what I see that these, like, little by little, these restrictions gonna add up till that everyone has to think the same way. Otherwise, you're not accepted in any platform or in any society, which actually scares me the most. That we cannot go out there and just simply share our opinions about Corona or any other subject. I think which is very dangerous. I don't know what you guys think.
Well,
But that's one thing that I'm super scared of. Because that's gonna drive people into depression. That's like the biggest reason that people will feel isolated. You cannot share. You have to be like, yes, we have to be all thinking exactly the same about this corona crisis, or we're not gonna save the planet. Or like also the pressure that is being put on our shoulders, like, I don't know. I'm so angry.
No, it's not to be underestimated with the psychic pressure that everybody in the world is going through right now. But I think, we're also being encouraged to not talk about it, but also just deal, act natural, and keep watching Netflix, and don't get too critical about it, right? Because we're gonna get out of this eventually.
Thank you, Raphael. Thank you.
it's always one of the most important parts of like developing social cohesion or social movements, and that's what people talk a lot about. We're in this together in this moment. We have to come together to solve the corona crisis, and I really do believe that that's true. But what I feel like is sort of missing from this moment is the ability for people to compare notes across their experiences, because people coming together and talking about their experiences and recognizing the similarities with other people's lives to your own is really a critical part of forming the right response to any sort of society level challenge or systemic challenge. And what I find is most sort of threatening to me about the way coronavirus has been responded to by governments is, rather than rather than finding some means of connecting and communicating effectively with each other, rather than just having a one-way street of information coming from mainstream news or departments of health or whatever. That process of comparing notes and like finding a collective understanding of the issue, that's not happening. People are retreating into themselves, into their homes, and that also in a lot of instances means retreating into their paranoia and bad habits and personal mental struggles. And what I see as I look around me is that there's a huge range of personal responses to the crisis. Some people are, in a way, they're living their best life. They finally have time to do what they want, and their stress levels are reduced. And generally speaking, these will be people who hopefully have enough money to live in this moment. They're doing okay. They're eating cupcakes. But for a lot of other people, the experience of retreating into yourself has not been a healing one. And I think it should be noted that like isolation can be one of the most torturous psychological experiences a person can go through. I mean, just the prospect in a prison setting of solitary confinement is considered by a lot of organizations and a lot of countries to be a torturous form of punishment, and that's in a way what's being asked of a lot of people in this moment.
Because I feel pretty lucky that we actually are not alone here in this apartment, that we do get to bounce off each other, and there's obviously some struggles there as well as with any living situation. But I think that's what keeps you out of the spirals, as when you have another person to break you out of that spiral. And I think, I guess a lot of people are really just stuck at home, and they only go to the grocery store and get freaked out there. And it's just a really dangerous loop to be in, right? Yeah. So especially if you find yourself in that situation, I would encourage you to reach out and just talk to people, find a way to smooth it out, break the cycle that you're in.
One of my, again, the Indian student I was helping, he is saying when people know that their hands are changing, there are restrictions to call it paralogy attack. When people realize it, then it's too late to act. That's all I want to say.
Mm. No, solid comment.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, and I have Raphael wants to be in the chat. Can you guys DM me? Because we want to do this regularly, so for the next one I can put you in the list right away, so we can talk about it, and next time you can be in the stream and share your thoughts live as well. But for now, I think, let me see if we have like enough time left. I don't know, we are probably already over time.
We're almost 40 minutes in at this point.
So maybe we can also do it in this live stream, but maybe it's time now to ask Chisholm.
I think so,
It's
yeah.
definitely time to ask her.
Because I feel like we're gonna go a little longer than what we expect.
Well, we're talking it out, I think.
Which is fine. But I wanna now ask Chisholm to join us and share her experience live. She's a friend of mine who lives in Rotterdam. She's a violinist, and I will just... Oh, my hands are so oily now. I didn't think this through.
Shout out to my co-hosts for eating cupcakes before any other part of the brunch.
Yeah. Had to get in that cupcake.
It's so good. Chisholm! Hi,
Amazing.
it's working.
Welcome.
How are you?
I'm wondering if you can hold your phone up somehow to the camera.
Oh, me there?
We can bring the camera over.
Oh, because we are live streaming also with YouTube, but maybe the camera can't see Chisholm now. Can you like zoom in?
Oh, we're zooming in.
I have to.
We're zooming in. We're focusing. Man, check out this production quality.
So
Extraordinary.
good. Okay, then I will have to come.
Is the sound okay? Should I put in ears or something?
It's good. I think you can just speak a little louder, if you can. So, how are you?
I miss Kartopu.
Kartopu.
I can go get him.
Yeah, go get Kartopu. It adds
Yeah, that's part of the.
a lot
That's
of
part of the
value.
Corona brunch. Part of the Corona brunch.
It's so good to see you.
So should we, for the people that don't know Chisum, can we hear a little bit about who you are?
Yes.
Oh wait, I'm distracted by Kartopu now. Look at that.
Kartopu has been really cute, but so annoying at the same time.
Yeah, the cat's going through its own personal Corona journey.
Really. He changed a lot. Like, he's just yelling and yelling.
Really?
Yes. Merhaba Kaya. Hello.
Hello.
So,
Okay, then. Then I answer your question. I'm Kisa Maspert. I'm a violinist. I live in Rotterdam. And I've got the virus. And I've been fighting with coronavirus for, like, this is my literally 43rd day that I've been in quarantine. I've been in this room. I haven't left this room at all for 43 days. And it was hard, but I'm a lot better. I can talk, I can breathe again, and yeah, things are going much better. And my dear friends wanted to talk about this time, what I've been doing, like my experience, and like also your experience. Yeah, we are gonna talk a little bit about this
yes.
journey.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that, like, you actually, like, had the coronavirus and, like, went through all that.
Yeah, I was just thinking some people don't know somebody. We're reconnecting.
No, because my data is ended. Wait. Okay,
And
is
we're
it-
back.
Are we back?
Hello, wait, I just lost connection. Now I'm in 4G. Is it okay? Is it better?
Yeah. Is our connection good?
Yeah, it looks good. It looks solid.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I don't know if it was me or you.
No, it was mine.
It was
Literally,
because
my phone Tele2 sent me a message saying, like, your mobile data ended.
You're using some of
Like,
that
you used
mobile
100% of your mobile data. So I just switched to the Wi-Fi. So
Nice.
we are good.
Okay.
Yes.
So I couldn't hear your question.
Yeah, but I was just thinking a lot of people maybe don't know somebody or have a connection like this where they've been able to hear from somebody that actually had the virus. So I think people would be very curious just to hear how that was kind of, and how you're doing after 40 days of quarantine, because that's a lot of days.
Yeah, it is. I must say it was not easy at all. And yeah, it's taking a lot. Like I never imagined when I got the virus. I never imagined that it would take so long. Really, every time I felt like, okay, it's gonna be over, and it comes back. It's really. It has been a hard process, but if I start from beginning on, like, I was really careful actually. I wasn't expecting to have the virus, but I think I'm one of the first people who had it in the Netherlands, because when I think I had the virus was like there were only a couple of patients with the virus in that time in the Netherlands, and you remember we had this quartet concert, Tardeland.
Yes.
Like the day after that, all our concerts get cancelled, and you were like, okay, like what can we do? And the day after that, I had 6 students coming each other, and I had like hand sanitizers, that kind of stuff, and I opened the window every time after a student, not because of I was paranoid, but I was in the airport the week before, and I had concert, like I was in a crowded place the day before that, so just in case I always wanted to act like I had corona. But if I count the days when I started seeing the symptoms, that day I wasn't corona apparently, but yeah, my students came. They also didn't know they had the virus, but they came to my home. So we touched the same places, like, they didn't have the symptoms back then, but yeah, you never know. So I think I get it in that time, and around like less than 2 weeks later, I started having like a horrible headache, like really, I thought it was migraine, but it didn't stop for like, it was 2 days, 5 days, 10 days, like it didn't get less at all. And after, like, it was the 3rd day, I think, I called the doctor, like, I'm not feeling well, like, I don't know what it is. And then he said, okay, we will keep following, like, let's see what happens in a few days. And then I started having cough, and I lost my ability of smell and taste, like, completely. And this coughing went worse, and, like, I think it was the 2nd week. I thought I was a lot better, like, after the 2nd week. But then, like, why I thought that way, because my headache started getting less a little bit. But around, like, 2 days after that, I started having serious coughing crisis. Like, serious that I couldn't breathe. Like, my lungs were burning, and like I could only breathe like really small. I don't know how I can say it in English. Like really little breathing, like just to stay awake or like alive. I don't know. I couldn't have a deep breath for weeks, and still like it just came back like a couple of days ago. I can now feel the difference in my breathing, but these coughing crises were horrible. And because I was young, I wasn't allowed in the hospital. Like doctor think you'll survive. Just go home, don't go out, and don't infect anyone. Yeah. So I tried everything, all the like natural things people suggest. Like I have no idea how to say it in English. Like karamürver şurubu.
I don't know. I was like actually thinking about that. Should I like? I didn't even remember the Turkish word though, so I could not check. She said something, but
But yeah, that things I don't know. I think the karamürver really helped.
yeah,
And that's
karamürver.
kind of I don't know. I really don't know what it's in English.
How do you karamürver mi?
Yeah, it's like
Cardamom?
fruit kind of thing.
We need to check that.
But it sounds really scary. Like
It is,
really
like,
scary.
Yeah, people like really serious. The people who are complaining being at home and bored, like they should be really thankful to be healthy. It was really heavy. I've never experienced something like that.
Well, and it's a new experience, I think, in this time where you actually have a serious illness, but then you can't get the care that you need because, right, you're not in the right category of person, or maybe the hospital's overfilled or something, and that seems, that's a scary feeling to have, that you can't get the help that maybe you need.
Yeah.
Is there a comment about the word that we are looking for?
Sambucas?
Sambucas?
Like the
Maybe.
cocktail?
Do you guys know what is it?
I thought a sambuca was like a cocktail.
A kombucha?
What is the naturopathy?
What's up, Karsu?
It's like, Cars.
Welcome to the show.
What is naturopathy? Naturopathy?
It's like natural remedies.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
exactly what we're supposed to not be talking about. 'cause
By the
YouTube
way,
is
did
gonna
you
shut
know
us
that?
down.
If you talk about home remedies on YouTube, they block you now.
Right, so we're not condoning anything you're saying about nature remedies on this channel. That's all super wrong, and we're only following the CDC guidelines.
Nature cannot save you now.
Ignore nature at this point in time, is what we're saying.
But she's saying that it helped her, so.
Right, that's great. That's great anecdotal evidence that is possibly also true, but officially we don't.
Huh?
Okay. Well, actually, there's one thing that didn't help me at all. Maybe I should say that. Every time when I drink orange juice, I was coughing like I thought I was gonna die. Really, like it's I don't know. It's vitamin C, but it made me cough like crazy. Really, I found myself.
Yeah, elderberry.
Like, huh?
Okay, I think it's elderberry.
But that's interesting to hear about orange juice, that was making you not feel so good.
Sorry.
That's interesting to hear about orange juice not working so well for you.
I know. I also didn't realize it for a while, like, because I kept drinking it. It's, good, vitamin C. But after a while, like, I realized every time I drink orange juice, I ended up in a crisis. But crisis, like, I had cramp. Is it
Yeah, cramp, yeah.
in my belly, like, I would get stuck like that, like, or my face, like, imagine I dive in, like, I dive deep without any oxygen or something like that, and, like, I come back, like, that kind of feeling, because in this crisis, you don't have time to stop and breathe.
Yeah.
Like, I could really see how people die. It's horrible. So it's really something to be taken seriously. And I'm young, I don't have any sickness. I don't smoke. Like, if it affects me that much, people can really die. Like, also, I'm not talking about just old people, but anyone.
Yeah, I think it's really because what we see during this time, when it first started, they were talking about only two symptoms, right? They were just like fever and cough. And I thought that I had it as well because none of my sickness just started with cough. So I just had this dry cough, and mine also took around 3 weeks till I got really like back to my health. But like again, like they all were saying fever, and most of the things that what I heard from many people, none of these people who like think that they have the corona, none of them had fever. So like, and then they started coming with these other symptoms as well. I mean, I don't know if it is because they understand now the virus better. Like, that's the thing about me not really trusting, what I hear or what I like read about on the internet, because like, yeah, there were only two symptoms and most of the people even didn't show fever, and then there were a bunch of other symptoms added. And like, I'm like, and you have to also like, then if you're doing this kind of things, like trying to help people, then you have to also accept that you don't really understand what's happening. But I didn't, like, at least for myself, like I haven't read from any authorities that are like, we don't know what the fuck is happening, because that would like freak out people.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, that's what's happening. They just don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I agree, because like, as you guys know, it's quite like normal thing in the Netherlands now. Like, so many people I talk has the virus. So it's becoming, it's not like you and see the numbers, like it's not something like that. It's the reality. People are, and you have the virus, and everybody has different symptoms. And
Yeah.
even if you have like one of the symptoms, I believe that you can have the virus.
Yeah.
Because they say even without the symptoms you can have the virus. So why not with one? But I think in hospitals, what I see, like people don't get it so, like sometimes it's not taken so seriously if you have one of the symptoms only, which I understand in a way because the doctors are really busy at the moment with this virus. There are a lot of patients.
Yeah.
So if you have less symptoms, maybe like you have less possibility to have the virus, but still you can. So
Yeah, I was curious to ask when you went to the hospital, where was it really crowded? Was it really crazy there when you went?
well, what happened is that doctor didn't let me in the hospital. Maybe I shouldn't say that in live, but well,
No, but
we
you
had
should.
appointment. What?
No, you should, because it's also kind of our topic.
Yeah. Well, I talked to the doctor. Like I had the appointment, and he said, "How do you feel?" And I explained, and he said, "Did you see anyone with the virus?" I said, "Like, yeah, I found out 3 of my students had the virus, and I saw them like that time, and it's probably that like because it's like combo. Like I see 3 of them in the same day, same evening." And he said, "Okay, are they tested?" Yes. Um, so he said, "Okay, like with the symptoms, you have it like for sure. Don't even come to the hospital. Don't see anyone. Don't just lock down yourself in the house. If you come to the hospital, it's possible that you infect some people. So just stay." And in a way, I understand that it's actually good because there's always risk if I go out. But I would expect some kind of treatment,
Yeah.
just like instead of stay home, stay safe. It's not safe, I had moments like, man, I'm not gonna make it. It's like that kind of heavy moments. Like if there was a medicine that would help, that would be nice, I think. But my body learned how to fight with it. So I think at the end, maybe I became stronger to fight with something like that naturally, kind of. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's to me now, like when we talk about it, I think it is really, really bad. Like when you really need that kind of sport. By the way, in 2 minutes we have to start a new live stream because there's a limit in Insta. But till that, I want to say that when you are really sick, like even like going to a doctor and like someone that knows what's happening about the medicine and like all that, and then someone is telling you what's happening, it also has the psychological relief. And we thought that, I do believe, like these kind of things will take longer. I mean, it's like that with any kind of sickness as well. If you're not able to go and get help, then like if you're trying to, I mean, I'm not talking about cold, but even then, like sometimes it's gonna just take so long, and there are just factors, that we might not be able to think at the time. But I think also like you had to, have this for like that long. It's also one of the I think failures of our system, that was like you were not able to get that help when you need it, and you had to go that psychological heavy process.
Had to be told that you're on your own.
Like you had to be told you have to stay home, you'll survive, but not sure, but you have to stay home and lock yourself. And you didn't get any kind of emotional support, like in that sense, from someone that knows what's happening in a way. which I think that it's not fair to anyone.
Ooh, the live video was ended. You know,
Okay, let's. Wait.
just to look at camera 2 for a second here, it's interesting. My entire computer appears to be frozen and unresponsive, even while the stream continues to stream. But I don't seem to be able to click on anything. Which is just another,
Okay. We're back.
sort of signal that things are weird when you try to talk about Corona.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you're following along on YouTube and the stream is not giving you what you want on a personal level, you can consider hopping onto Cardelin Buruk.
Yeah,
Viola, what's your Instagram handle?
Hardelandbruk, this dash
Underscore?
underscore Viola. But maybe they even stopped our stream. No, but that looks go.
No, the stream is continuing
Okay.
for sure. Just the computer is unresponsive at this point.
Yeah, like, because what do you think about that? Like, I'm sure it had some sort of effect on actually your general well-being.
Yeah, definitely. For example, news affects so much because in the news you only see about infected people and people who died.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about people who actually recovered, and there are like actually a lot of people who recovers from
Most
that
of them.
virus.
Yeah.
But like when you see the numbers and see the people dying, and like I live very close to Erasmus Hospital in Rotterdam, and I hear the ambulance all the time. Like I don't know how many times a day, and this kind of things affect because I never thought I'm going to die because of the virus. Like I'm in general a positive person, and I try to stay positive in this as well. But there were some moments when I realized, like, okay, thousands of people die every day because of this virus, and I have the virus, and I cannot breathe. My lungs hurt. Like I'm coughing, like my lungs, like, like they want to go out. That's kind of like, yeah, there were hard moments, but what was most frustrating is that when you start recovering, you feel good one day, and then the next day you go back to like how you felt like a week before. And then you recover. One day you wake up, okay, today I feel good. And then in the evening, there is a coughing crisis, and you go back to like how you were 4 days ago. Like that kind of, it's always like forward and back. It's really frustrating. It feels like I'm never gonna be okay. And it's day 43, and I'm still coughing. Like it's not not so much. It's just a little bit. This is nothing, like really nothing. But it would be nice to go for a walk to the park, like, or going to kitchen, take water or something, like, doing basic stuff myself. Like my neighbor helps a lot. Like he gives me food and water. Like he cooks for me, but I feel healthy, and I would like to help, but I cannot because I'm still coughing, and it's risky. I don't want to risk anyone, so I have to wait until like it's completely symptom free for 24 days. My record was 24 hours, not days.
I was like, what?
Damn.
But my record was 20 hours. I said, okay, I'm gonna go, and then I get another coughing crisis. So yeah, amazing.
Well, it sounds pretty rough, but we're happy to hear you're feeling a little better.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel recovered. It's just I have some symptoms that are not over yet. That's why I have to stay in quarantine.
Yeah, no, it's impressive how powerful those symptoms are. It seems much more than your average cold or flu or something.
Yeah, yeah, no, I never had something like that. If you have corona, you feel it. It like I know a lot of people who says, oh, I feel like maybe I have like a little fever or like a little bit of coughing. I feel like I have sore throat, but it can also be psychological, because we're at home sitting and listening our body all the time, and even if you don't have the symptoms, you might feel like you have them, but if you have them for real, you have them for real. Yeah.
And the symptoms that yeah, question mark. Like the symptoms that we know now, they say you cannot taste and smell, right?
Yeah.
And cough still there. Fever, is it fever still there?
Yeah, it must
No,
be.
I never had fever.
Yeah, you never. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think it's very because I feel like, especially for people who are healthy and not in the risk group, it just differs so much. Like how you actually like get the virus or how you go through with it. Like I know that some people don't even, like had what you had, like maybe 4 or 5, like the real mild ones. Maybe yours were not like the real mild one, not severe, but something maybe in between.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are also people who are like, just having this disease, this virus, and just getting through,
Just power through it, yeah.
power throughing, in like a week or something. Like, so that's the thing. Like, we really don't know exactly like what we are looking at. I think which is the frustrating part, because even when you look at the numbers, you don't know actually, like I don't know anything about statistics because I didn't study statistics and I never forced my brain to understand statistics. It was never part of my interest.
We're all musicians here.
Yes, we are all musicians. But even then, like, you really can't trust those numbers because the problem is there is not enough tests. So
You don't actually know how many people have
you don't
it.
actually know how many people have it. You don't actually know how many people recovered. You don't actually know how many people die from it, because there are also now cases, a person is going there with the symptoms who is dying old from cancer, let's say. And they also add those cases to corona cases. So, like, we actually don't know how many people dying because there are not enough tests. So if a person, showed the symptoms and died but also have cancer, they won't test that person.
Yeah.
Well, and you're a good example, right? She's something like, who knows if they added you to the official tally, right? And you didn't call anybody back and say, hey, I recovered, right? I mean, so we're talking to like a dark corona case here that isn't officially on the books, but it really does sound like you had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, left behind.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I never let anybody know about I recovered because I don't think they ever counted me. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
but that's the problem, in my opinion, about the numbers. Like, unless they test everyone, we cannot really tell the percentages or the date, like that rates, because again, like, there are people like you who recovered, or people that maybe even died without being tested, but like not for sure we know that person died because of corona or not,
On either side, yeah.
which is again another failure of our system.
Get a little heated now.
There it is.
Get a little heated.
Yeah. No, very very little about the current moment speaks to
Well,
the system working well.
I think that's what is so hard to speak about and discuss openly, right? We're being told from every single possible corner that you should only listen to the official statistics, only listen to official news, and don't talk about or report on anything that is not coming from those official groups. While at the same time, those official groups seem to really not be very well organized and not actually know what's going on. So it puts you in a state of confusion. Yeah, because it's like, well, but these guys, but they don't seem to know who does know what's going on? Does anybody know what's going on here? That's the feeling you get. Like,
one thing for sure, everybody needs to act like they have the virus. Because there are a lot of cases that you never know if you have the virus or not. You should always be careful. Like, you can get it anywhere. So.
yeah, well, you can get it again, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope not.
Hope not.
Yeah. Another thing, like, I want to talk about, because, I realize now that I do really wash my hands more often than normal and everything. But in a way, maybe in Albertine I feel a little, not panicked, but uncomfortable because of the situation, because I find it so dumb. I don't know how the Albertine next to your house is, but we all
He's not going to miss.
but we all have to get these huge big cars. Normally you could get like a normal car and keep the 1.5 meter distance, right? But it's just not possible with that, because even if we go 3 of us or 2 of us, we still have to have separate cars. Like, even though we are roommates, they don't let us to use one car. So what happens then in Albertine, there are a bunch of people, I mean, they're not a bunch of people, but with the car, you are basically 2 extra person trying to navigate. And it's impossible to keep that distance. Like, it is literally impossible. And it is just to fuck with your brain. Like, I really, because, with that little things, it's so much easier to keep the distance because you have your little bag and you can, navigate. But with these huge cars, it's just like, looks funny, looks like, and everyone gets more stressed because it's harder to keep the distance, navigating those cars. And I get really angry every time I go to Albertine, because like the strategies, the corporations trying to apply,
Trying to implement the regulations.
so try to implement regulations seem so fake to me. Like, they're just doing that to keep the business open. Because, I mean, in this X large Albertine, I don't know. For example, Migros, there's this smaller market. It is so much smaller, but seriously, it's so much easier to keep the distance in there. And I don't know what that says about big corporations.
If you have a car, you're naturally more.
Yeah, that's the idea, but that's not how it works. Like, that's the idea. But the thing is, you have to, like, go somewhere, and there's another car coming, and, even if you wanted to keep the distance, you cannot go back because somehow there's another person now there. So, like, I don't know, like, generally, I just feel like it would be so much easier to, eyeball it, look it with your eyes, and then take that precaution for yourself instead of try to navigate that big cars.
I mean, I like to think of it like a video game, like you're driving your car and you got your proximity sensor and you can spend 10 seconds maximum next to a coronavirus person before you get it. And there's like blinking like lights all in my mind, like I'm going, and it's just like
last 10 seconds till you get the virus. 10, 9, 8,
move.
move.
And and you get like multipliers, and then maybe a little discount on your groceries if you get it right. You know, it's.
But you guys can order, no? You can order.
Yeah, but that's also, I feel like,
I'm not convinced that that's safer.
yeah, I'm not
It's
convinced that it's
much more
safer.
expensive to have
And
everybody.
it's so much
currying
more
you.
expensive, and
Okay.
because you have to pay for the, like, for me, the way, like, I haven't seen anyone since the quarantine than just two of these guys, because we are roommates. So, like, we keep that sphere very, like, three of us, we do stuff together. And to me, I think that's, like, the most sufficient way, actually, keeping the virus spread, right? Because we know that this virus is not an airborne disease. So, like, when you're walking outside on open air, there is no way that you can get this virus. I'm not talking about surfaces or anything, but the scientists, no,
Scientific.
scientists, at least the articles that I read, that says that this is not an airborne disease. So, and again, I don't know anything about airborne disease, but so it does spread with the droplets of your cough and your sneeze, and infected person touching the surfaces and stuff like that, right?
I just feel like that's the quickest way to drive yourself absolutely insane when you're like in your mind trying to track the little droplets of that person touched this object, and then on this particular surface the virus can live for this many hours, so how many hours have gone by since that person touched that?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's super healthy to be like running your brain that way, personally.
Yeah. I mean, you would always think your home is the safest place, and I've got it in my home, and we didn't touch. Like, I don't remember if they cough or, like, I don't know. I mean, they're lovely people, and I never thought, like, anyone can have this virus, but I never looked like, oh, did you cough? Are you coughing? Like, it didn't feel that way. Maybe if it was now, it was different, but in back then, everything was so new. I'm
Yeah.
talking about, like, 50-something days ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, also, yeah, because we didn't have the awareness, but also, like, now the awareness that we have is also not so helpful in a way, because definitely, like, staying at home and doing social distancing and just limit your, like, as I said, to my logic, if I'm not seeing anyone outside of my roommates, let's say, because we live together, if I'm not seeing anyone, and I mean, I'm not sick, so I might be a carrier, whatever, but at the same time, then what am I gonna, like, then are we all gonna stop just going outside, order food, the groceries, like, just do everything online, and then just keep doing that till when, basically?
Yeah.
That's my question, because there's no, like,
No.
and is that healthy in a way, you know? Because
I'm sure a lot of people are doing that.
now we're talking about really physical health, but I mean, people die from depression. There are lots of suicide rates. Now I'm reading a lot the domestic violence rates going up the roof. There are people still dying, not because of corona, but because of other horrible things. And I just don't feel like it's so healthy, or in my opinion, right, to just limit this in that sense. And now, because, you know, it started like we have to be careful for others, like we have to be because we are a society that we have to think about others, so we have to be in a certain way to keep this corona spread, in a way we don't even know how it is actually spreading, right? Because you're now saying that they didn't cough, you didn't touch.
I know that I didn't touch, but I don't remember if they coughed. That's
Yeah.
what I
Well, anyway, so like, and this unknown thing is scary, but at the same time it has effects, other effects. And I think it makes me sad that those things are not being really talked about.
The trade-offs.
Like the trades off, yeah, exactly, trade-offs. So now that maybe I don't know, like this is such a like careful, you have to now be so careful about talking about these things, you know, otherwise people might think that you're insensitive or you're a murderer, like
There's a lot of use of the phrase murderer.
which is, you know, I can understand that side really well, but it's actually, when I look at that, I really do see some similarities between that kind of thinking and basically any other like one way of thinking as well, like in right wing what is
Well, I mean, it's basically fascism, but
yeah, it's
but
basically that's what
but
I'm
it's-
trying to.
But it's what we want and it's what we need, right? And that's sort of the scariest part, I think, for me about all of this is that everybody's like with open arms saying, "Please, fascism, come save us. We need to stop civil discourse and we need to stay at home and we need to stop making connections. Please stop all of this human culture that we've been creating." And that's just kind of, that's scarier than the virus to me personally.
I think this is something temporary. Like I hope.
I mean,
it's
we
not
hope,
gonna
yeah.
take- Yeah. But I do feel it will create some. You know, it's not going to be like. It's not going to turn normal in one day, and it's not going to be like if you see a friend of you after a long time, you cannot hug the same way. Maybe like you have to think twice because you never know. You know that kind of things. But in a way, I also see positive side of it because I think people realize how important for it to be able to go out, like hug your friends, see your family, that kind of stuff. And I see nature is breathing again. Like if we were trying to do this like naturally, like everyone stay home, don't use airplanes, don't use like any like this car, you know, any kind of how do you say that, like cars,
Transportation.
transportation, yes, thank you. That creates a lot of pollution. And when we think about global warming, people don't take it as seriously as it is. But it's going to create maybe a bigger problem in the future. Like I think it's going to create a bigger problem. But with this period, I think this global warming effects will, I mean, at the end, I think we will save some time. How can I say it in English? Like,
Yeah, we
for
are like,
example, it's not getting as fast as, like, it's not getting worse
right
as
now.
fast
Yeah.
as it used to be right now. And I try to see it in that way. Of course, it has horrible effects, like you said. But I think we should think in a positive way. And there's this time of, especially for musicians, there's this time of creating new stuff, like time that we always want to have, but we are always so busy, like trying to catch one gig to another, like always rushing. I have like 2 hours to learn this new stuff and you read and train, you know, that kind of, like we all experience this. And now we have really calm moment of really focusing yourself, like learning new stuff. You can learn new languages, I don't know, whatever. there's so much time, and I think people can get depressive if they don't use this time well. Um, but there's a lot of opportunity in that, I think, and I see the world is changing, and in a way, I know it's horrible to have this crisis, but in a way, the entire world has the same problem for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And this virus doesn't choose people, like, it can go to prince or rich people, poor people, doesn't matter who you are, you can be infected.
But rich people will get the best care, no matter what, right?
Yeah, but still.
But that's the thing, this virus makes us feel like we are united and we are all, but that's also the media kind of showing to us what we have to think. But in a way, at the same time, there are people who are actually dying because of this virus without knowing that they have the virus, because they're in so much worse situations. Let's talk about refugees. Let's say they don't have the hygienic environment that they should have to be able to regulate their health in that sense. They are literally by the governments, by everyone, left behind to die.
Yeah.
And we are not equal, that's for sure.
No, that's for sure.
A virus is going to push that equality even further apart.
Yes.
But I still think she's making a good point that there are some silver linings
Yes.
here with this whole situation. And for those of us that do have a stable living situation, it has cut off the rat race and the grind and given you a chance to sort of reflect on what is your life and what do you actually want to do with it, and this all goes back to some form of normal.
I actually really enjoyed this time in a way, but I'm thinking this time would be so much more productive and so much more without stress if it was given by the government freely. You know what I mean? Okay, citizens, now you're gonna get 3 months off from everything, and there's no virus. You just do whatever you want. I think that would be totally a different story, and that would actually, because now there are also other people who are struggling a lot with their mental health because of the pressure of this situation, because we don't know when this is gonna end.
Yeah.
But for people like us, I totally agree with you that it's a great time to learn about yourself, self-reflect, basically do anything you want to do. But we have to accept...
There's actually, since all the concerts are cancelled, it's hard to find the motivation.
Yeah.
That's also another thing.
Yeah.
But apparently, not time and motivation they don't come in the same way.
Not always. No, but the opportunities of the moment are almost as big as the downsides. As much has been, lost in this moment, or however you want to frame it, taken from us. The gift of time, which is worth a lot, it's an extraordinary opportunity for those who can find the groundedness and the peace and the focus. It's an opportunity to start a whole new journey. I can only speak for myself as having been a musician my whole life and having worked as a musician my whole life. During this time, I've been doing stuff and collaborating with both of these beautiful people. I've been doing things that I never, ever, always wanted to do, never found the time to do, never found the courage or the space to do. And those things are able to start now. And I hope that, not only for all the artists, but for everyone out there, that if there's something you've always wanted to do, and if you can do it, if you can start in some way, even if it's just learning or education or fact finding, like, do yourself a favor. Because ultimately, as long as it'll take to go back to normal, this period of time will end.
Yeah.
This period of time will end, whether it takes
Whether it takes 2 years.
6 months or 6 years.
I am the pessimistic here.
Yeah.
7 years.
7 years, 15 years.
No, it'll.
Start now, because then it also
No, the only thing constant is it's changed. It'll change.
it'll change
It's changing
into
every
another
day.
thing.
Yeah.
But it's great to talk to you, Chisum.
Yes.
We just hit an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
So we're gonna think about maybe wrapping it up pretty soon.
Yes.
But it's great to get your impressions and your experience in this crazy time.
Thank you so much for joining us. We
We all miss you too.
Hopefully soon we're gonna get together and hug each other without thinking twice.
I don't know. The thinking will continue.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining, Jenim.
Good luck with the rest of the, how do you say this,
Live stream.
live stream.
God knows we need it.
Thank you.
Keep talking that long for so long.
Good.
Okay, guys, see you soon.
See you
See
soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Well, let me just resituate this real quick.
For those of us that are still here, thank you for being with us.
Yes.
We're sliding in.
I mean, we had other content, but I'm not thinking we should show that next week.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of testimonials from all the world. We've got people talking about their experiences in places like Jamaica, in Australia, Germany, all places from all over. And so we really want to share that with you. So it seems like definitely important that we're gonna do another one of these.
Yeah, and just tell if you enjoyed this, tell your friends and let them know what's happening here, and feel free to send along your own impressions.
Yes.
If it's just text or maybe a voice memo or even a video, we'd love to hear from you. And
Or if you want to be on the show.
Oops.
or if you want to be live like Chisum, that is also possible.
If you want to be on the show, let us know, and we'll set up a time.
Yes, because I know from the previous stream, there were people who wanted to be in the stream, so I will probably look at those names and also send you a DM so we can talk about it for next week. But thank you so much for everyone.
Yes, thank you.
I'm just quickly checking the comments. Yes, but I think this went well. And now, actually, we thought that we could eat all of this during the live stream, which
We did not.
Well, that's the thing about
we did not. But
doing a talk show is you spend it talking, basically.
Yeah.
but now I'm quite excited to end this live stream.
Yeah, and get in this brunch.
Get in this
We gotta get in this brunch.
Not featured on the live stream is eating all of the cupcakes immediately without getting up.
Yeah. So you can picture that, and hopefully you'll join us next time.
Yes. Thank you everyone for joining.
Be
And
well.
Be well, stay safe,
Bless up.
and just reach out to us to
Yes.
talk about
Cultivate
your
human
feelings and your
connections.
experience. Human connection is very, very important.
Nothing but love, everybody.
See you
Bye.
next time. Bye.
I'm gonna run this bumper one more time.
Yay. Bumper. Oh.
Yeah.
See you guys. Bye.
Oh,
yes. The Corona brunch.
the Corona brunch. That was our first Corona brunch.
Good.
Take it easy, everybody.
Bye.
Keep it real.
Bye to this.